Hello, Will here, and today I'm bringing you the FIA race at Sean Card. We are in round 3 at the Red Bull Ring, and we're going to start in the qualifying. Get the qualifying in there, see how we do. And at that point, I thought my thing bloody glitched in it, because I've never seen it at that angle before, and I was thinking, please don't glitch, because this is the last time I could do this race, because it was at 11 o'clock. But lucky enough I managed to get in, so it was just something a bit weird. So in this race we were in group 4s, so I was in the Toyota 86. Now I don't know how good the Toyota 86 is. It seemed alright. I don't know if it's how good the car is in general, but it seemed to be an alright car. It did the job, I suppose, at least anyway. So we're obviously just on the outlap at the moment. Just gonna get used to tracking and go around. This guy in front of me was obviously going a bit slower, and I'm like, wanted to avoid. Didn't want to smack straight into him, even though obviously since it's the outlap, it's like it's not really gonna matter. But I still don't want to actually smack into the person. But obviously the guy was just sort of just going around a bit slower, trying to keep his tyres in a bit more of a fresher state, and I was just like, I just want to get around the track, mate. But, obviously, it's not, at the end of the day, that wasn't a big problem, because obviously, again, we're on the outlap, so just got to get around the track. But I'm just obviously still just sort of like trying to find out where are good points in the go, where to turn, where to brake, I sort of know basically where to brake in this kind of track. They may not be the best braking points, but they do the job. So we're almost finishing on the outlap. We've only got basically 8 minutes left to go. I think I get about 4 or 5 laps in, I think, something like that. I can't remember. But let's see how we do on the first one. So this is the first actual timed lap. So on the first corner, normally you would brake them around about the 100-meter board, roughly. Sometimes you might have to brake a little bit earlier, sometimes you might have to brake a little bit later, but it's normally around about the 100-meter board. It's roughly where you want to brake around out there. So on to the first long straight. With the second corner, again around about the 100-meter board, give or take, a couple of tens of meters. It all depends on what car you're driving. Then I've gone to another long straight. See, there's a lot of long straights, so a car that has a high top end may be quite good one here, but also, and there again for the third corner, it's about 100-meter board. A lot of this is about the 100-meter. So I can't give you an exact number, but I can give you an approximation. So this corner is about, again, around the 50-meter board is where I was normally braking. So you may be able to brake it a little bit later. It may actually be better to brake it a little bit sooner. But around about the 50-meter board there is roughly where you want to brake. I would say it's a good starting point for a braking point, at least anyway. So coming into the second last corner. Now on the left you'll see that there's 2 guys dressed in an orange sort of suits. I was using that as my marker as the braking point for that corner. And for the last corner is where you see on the right hand side the rumble strip that leads into the pit lane. I was using the beginning of that to be sort of like my brake marker, because there's nothing really directly there. So my first lap was a 140.2. Not great, because in practice I was able to get I can't remember what the exact time was, but I know it was a 138. I think it's around about maybe a mid 138, maybe slightly, maybe a low 138. So I'm about 2 seconds off what my pace really actually was. So not the best qualifying lap, but it's a start. So at the moment we're in qualifying in position 9. So all in all, not bad. Almost smashing into that guy, but I think he was going to start going over, but then he probably saw me on his radar, or he knew that I was coming up, so he's like, alright, I'll stop moving over and I'll wait for him to go by, because he's seen that I was going quite fast down there. So let's see if we can improve on that 140.2. At the moment, not really. We're about a half second down from that lap. Now, the tyre strategy I went for this one was softs. I normally tend for tyres. I normally tend to go for the ones that give you longer life. But I thought on this one I'll try something a bit different. I thought I'll go for the softer tyre. So yes, you will be faster around the track, but the tyres won't last long. So that was a 140.6. So again, not great. So obviously now the corners are going to start getting a tiny little bit harder, because obviously the tyre wear is starting to kick in now, and you were able to do about comfortably 4 laps, roughly. I think comfortably you could do 4 laps, and then once you get to around about lap 5, that's when it starts to just to struggle a little bit. Not immensely, but you know, just a little bit. I think that's the point where you would start probably seeing, you know, like a little bit of a drop on time. So you know, we're still going to improve on that 140.2, and obviously a 140.6 is not going to do that. So we need to see if we can do a little bit better. You know, trying to at least get it into a 139. You know, if I can get it to a 139, that would be nice. That would be good. And other people who've seen my videos before, you may realise that this is a little bit different, because this time around I haven't done it. I'm not doing it via the replay. I've actually just recorded me doing the thing. You know, so I've decided here to pit and change the tyres. But yeah, this time around I've recorded straight from the actual race, rather than sort of like doing it from the replay, which is what I would normally do. Because I wasn't totally sure if I was going to do a video on this. It was all like, it all depends on how the race went. I mean, if the race went absolutely terrible, then I wasn't going to bother. Yeah, but just, you know, obviously since I got the video, my race went alright, at least alright. But how well it went, you're going to have to wait and see. But at least went alright, at least, because at least I've actually been doing a video. So you can see at the moment I'm now dropped down to 13th in the qualifying. So slowly dropping down, because I still need to improve on that 140.2. It shows how much off pace at the moment I am from lots of people in front of me. Pace is not doing so well at the moment. Now we got the person in last place in front of me right now. Oh dear. The slowest guy on the track so far. So let's, you know, obviously this lap I can't, you know, I can't do the whole, let's see how this lap goes, because obviously it's a pit lap, so it doesn't matter what time I get, because it's not going to count anyway. But I think it'll end up being slower anyway, because it's obviously your pit lap. So I've dropped down another place. I'm about 2.2 seconds off the leader, so quite a bit behind. But again, I don't know what car the leader is driving. It might be something like the Audi, or it could be a Porsche, or it could be something. It could be basically something that's better than Toyota. And again, now I've dropped down another position. Now I've dropped down to 15th. I'm slowly dropping down. See, that was a 138, but the problem is that was a pit lap, so that's obviously not going to count. And now I've dropped down to 17th. I'm slowly going down. It's like, oh no, this is not looking good so far. So, but that 138 for the pit lap, that's what I need to do, but for my actual qualifying lap. So this is the lap of where I've got to make that time. I've got to make it on this lap, because I've now dropped down to 18th, and there's only 17 seconds after qualifying. So it's this lap is where I need to get a 130, at least a 139, like very low 139, at least. to see what I'm able to get here. Third place going off wide, so not the best for your last flying lap, unfortunately. So let's have a look at the split time is. It didn't tell me. So that's because it's not there. It's a bit further down here. So I'm 7/10 up on my fastest time. So I'm now at 1:39.5 roughly. Still in 18th. Not great, not great. So coming into the last couple of corners, see if I'm able to improve on that. I've dropped down to 19th. Not good, not good. So what am I able to pull off? 137, 138, a 138.9. But lucky enough, that was fast enough to at least get me up into 10th place. So middle of the field. But obviously it's not fully just yet, 'cause I think at this point there's still 1 or 2 people who are actually lower than me still actually doing their lap. I think they're still running. But in the end, I do qualify in 10th place. So we start in 10th. Lovely. Alright, so we're starting now. So obviously the leader is in the Mercedes, as you can see. So let's read out the names of these people. Let's see who I'm racing up against. So in first place we have Hanserox in the AMG, Leo 1983 in the Audi TT. We have Bob 1811 in the BMW. Tommy Flat Collins in the Volkswagen. Ben's Life in the Lamborghini. Monty 451 in the Porsche. Alekopo 13 in the Audi TT. AX Tessie in the Lambo. I'm not sorry to pronounce that one. Mopswaz in the Audi TT. Few Audi TT so far. We've got me in 10th in the Toyota 86. We have Sivax in the Aston Martin. Rockabilly 84 in the Ferrari. Tovano in the Porsche. So Porsche, a lot of people in the Porsche in this one. Robin Gills in the Porsche. Don't know if you pronounce that one exactly. Oliver Moore 83 in the BMW. Gigi Gads in the Porsche. So a lot of Porsches, a lot of Cartier 92i in the McLaren. Tit Bobbin in Mercedes. For 1007 in the Porsche. And my only teammate, the Yakuza driver, in the Toyota 86. So a lot of Porsches in this race, and a few Audi TTs and a couple of AMGs. Now, unfortunately, yes, I only have one teammate in this race, and unfortunately, he's stoned at last, and he's at the back in 20th. So we were occupying the back, last place, and the middle of the field, Toyota. So let's see how we do in the actual race. So first lap's always a little bit tentative, especially with some of the corners. In this one, it's probably by the time you get to the second corner, because obviously in the long straight everybody's sort of like starting to get. Now I had to slow down a little bit there because, okay, I got a little bump somewhere, but it's nothing major. But I slowed down a little bit there because I had this. I saw on Civax. I saw him. Sort of saw him in my mirror, kind of sort of mirror my mirror that he's fucking charging right up. So I thought if I turn in now, he's gonna ram right into me. So I had no choice but to sort of like, I had to wait for him to go by, because he was just charging right down the field, which unfortunately did cause the, I think it was the Ferrari, just to give me just like a little bump. But in the end, obviously it was nothing major. It wasn't a major accident. So you know, I'm just a little bit, you know, beginning of the race, a little bit tentative, you know, just sort of like. So unfortunately, not doing the best, dropped down 2 positions. But obviously, you know, just gotta sort of get back into it, kind of thing. I know just recently done the qualifier, but you know, the start of the race is always, the start and the end are always a bit like tentative, because it's obviously the end. You obviously, people's tires are starting to sort of wear out again, so obviously a lot of people are struggling, and a lot of people are slightly struggling at least a little bit with the car. And obviously at the beginning, everybody's pushing hard to try and get as high for the field by the second lap, by second or third lap. They're like trying to get as far ahead as they can, sort of thing, to build up those gaps. Which unfortunately hasn't worked really well for me, because unfortunately I'm now dropped down 2 positions. So now we've got to try and make up those, at least those 2 positions again, at least. So we'll see what we can achieve and pull off in the second lap, if anything. But for all I know, I may not pull off anything. It may all go horribly wrong. So going at the second corner. So, but you know, so far, no major accidents, no major bad problems. You know, it's been pretty smooth racing so far. I mean, yeah, for a couple of the corners I've had to slow down. I've either slowed down a little bit too much, or I've slowed down this, or I've had to slow down a little bit more, or I haven't basically at least taken the corner the best. But you know, get around the track a couple of times, you start getting the flow of the track, getting the flow of the car and everything like that. So you know, so obviously you do start to perform better. Normally this kind of area is where I normally start to catch up with people. If I was going to catch up with anybody at any point, it was normally in this sort of this part of the track. So it's sort of like the centre, the middle of the track is where I would normally catch up. So see, I've managed to catch up, and I've now taken over the BMW and took him back. Place, gave me a little bump there, but again, nothing major bad happened, so no harm, no foul. Okay, SR going down a little bit, but that's just meh. It was just meh. So sort of side by side, near enough, with the Lambo, the Austrian in the Lambo. But in the end, I didn't have the speed to basically overtake him in the first corner. Now I don't know if the Frenchman in the BMW behind me was either able to get through the corners a bit faster than I was, or if he was just a little bit patient, maybe, I don't know. I probably could take the corners a little bit faster, but the problem was, there's obviously a little bump there. Because unfortunately, I think the guy in the Lambo, I think he did slightly tap the Ferrari, but obviously slowed down a little bit more than what I was expecting. So, but again, no major incident, just a slight little bump. So trying to overtake on the inside, he sort of surfaced right in front of me there. Kind of a bit of a risky move, but he managed to put it off. Yeah, slight little tap, but he managed to put it off. So obviously no major, didn't cause any major accident or whatever like that. So I always wanted to again see, there was always like little tiny taps, little tiny bumps. There was never never any major bosses or that, just little taps here and there. So I go a little bit wide there, which then allows the Lamborghini to overtake. So we're still we're up in about, I think, 9th or 10th then, but now we've dropped back down to 11th because I thought I went a little bit wide there. Now I don't know where I'm not entirely sure exactly where the track limits are to this. I know they've changed it. They may have changed it when they brought in the new penalty system in the daily races. So I think the track limits for the FIA has always been a little bit different. than what normally they were in daily races. So you see the Austrian and Lambo. It's got himself a 1 second penalty, not a major big penalty, but can be damaging enough. So there's no point in me trying to overtake him here. I may as well just wait till. Now he goes a bit wide anyway, so it's like a bit. Now I go a bit wide there, and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna now get myself a penalty. But I don't. So I suppose kind of lucky me. Because I already thought at that point now I was going to get myself a penalty, you know, like maybe something like a 1 second penalty or something like that. Which, again, a 1 second penalty is not the worst thing in the world, but it can be quite damaging. It depends on supposedly where you are in the race and how many other cars are in front of you and behind you. But I managed to get up into 10th, so back where I started. By lap 4. And you can see my lap times at the moment, still not great. Second lap is on fastest, and that's at 140. So I'm like basically 2 seconds, well 1.5 seconds off pace at the moment. So I'm not doing massively well. I think a couple of people will have pitted by now. I don't know how many people. I think a couple of people. I think a couple of people have at least pitted by now. But I decided to stay out for a lot longer. I'm thinking like, I've still got some life in these tyres. Let's you know, let's go out for another lap. So thanks to these people pitting in, I managed to climb up into 8th place. I was in 7th. Nope, now I'm 7th. So obviously just everything readjusting itself. The Audi TT of the Spanish driver Leo now behind me. Now he's always just come out of the pits and he's on fresh tyre, so if I could stay ahead of him, I'm going to try and stay ahead of him. But obviously if he's going to sort of like try and kind of push past sort of thing, because he's on newer tyres, fresher tyres, then I probably won't try and fight him too much. So here I wasn't going to try and go defensive, because there's not really much point. Gets into the line, he overtakes, but he is on new fresher tyres again, so he would most likely eventually overtake. And plus also since he's in the Audi, and the Audi's a very good Group 4 car. But since my tyres aren't massively bad, I can still keep on pace with him, and I can still at least present some kind of little threat to him. And you got the Frenchman going wide there. So I climb up and basically get 7th place. So obviously his tyres are starting to go a bit gear, as well as my tyres. My tyres are starting to go a bit bare, but I still got half life in the front tyres, so I think I can push it for a little bit more. As you can see, there was a lot of people there then did pit in. Now I don't know if I should have pitted in then. This is one thing I wasn't entirely sure about if I should have pitted in at that point. At that point I thought, you know what, I'm going to push it one more lap and I'm going to see what I can get. But now coming back to it, I don't know if I should have pitted in on lap 5, or if it was the better idea for me to stay out for at least for one more lap. Because you can see now I'm in the 4th place, but obviously a lot of people behind me, there's a few people behind me, and a few of them are probably just recently out of the pit, so they're going to be on fresher tyres, so they're going to obviously be able to catch up, you know, relatively easily. But I'm going to still see what I can pull off. But my lap times still aren't great. 140, 142, 140, 141, so I don't seem to be doing too well in this. So my lap time is just not on pace. I'm not totally sure why. I'm not totally sure exactly where I'm going wrong with that. So, but yeah, I don't know where I'm going wrong with that one. As to why I'm still not on the pace that I know I can be on. I mean, obviously this lap would make sense if I do, because the tyres are bad. So I've decided to pit in now. Yeah, I'm pitting now. Change the tyres. No point in refuel. You know, fuel was not a problem in this. It was just going to be the tyres. So it may be possible. It may have been possible to do this on the mediums as a no stopper, as long as you were good with tire management. But again, with the medium, if you're doing it on mediums, by sort of like lap 10 or lap 11, you would really be struggling with that one. If you decided to do the mediums and try and do a no stopper, you would really be struggling on lap 10, lap 11. So I've come out basically in 11th place, so I'm sort of back to kind of roughly where I was earlier on in the race. But I'm still, but obviously, I'm new fresh tyres, and everyone else now is, most people, I think by this point, I think at least everybody's at least pitted once by now, so. But people who pitted in a little bit earlier, their tyres going to be at least a little bit worse than what mine are. So we're going to try and see if we can overtake the McLaren, because I think he may have already pitted in. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to have a guess here. He's already pitted in, so we're going to see what we can do. So I thought I'd see if try and get him in, up on the inside there, but then have a little bit of a wobble. Lucky enough I was able to keep it from basically spinning out and going off the track, because otherwise if that happened, that was it. That would have been it. That would have been it pretty much for my race, and I would have basically, I still would have finished the race, yeah, but it wouldn't have been a good thing to happen. But like enough, I managed to keep it under control. It's just unfortunately I lost a little bit of time on the McLaren. But someone else is now pitted, so managed to at least climb up to 10th. At least I'm back where I started. You know, so it's always good to at least finish where you started, at least. Oh, and obviously, and if you're able to finish better and higher than where you started, then it's a bonus. But if you finish where you started, then it's not that bad. Unless of course obviously you started in like 18th or 19th place, then yeah, it's pretty rubbish still. But so I've got to try and build this gap on the McLaren, and it's because he's managed to pull out ahead. Yeah. So I've got to try and find. So I've got to use this section here. Excuse me, it's quite late at night. So I'm going to use the section that I know where I seem to be quite strong on the track with. So I'm going to use this section to try and bring that gap down. Because I do think the Toyota is better in the corners than what the McLaren is. And plus also, I'm not totally sure what his tyres are like. So you can see he goes quite wide there. I'll move over a little bit, make sure this doesn't smack me, but obviously he was always being careful. It looks like he was being careful to try and not hit to me as well. And I managed to overtake him and get past him. And now unfortunately there was a bit of a gap between me and 8th place. I can't see it on here properly, but I think it's something like, I think it's like a 6-second gap. It's quite a big gap, so it's quite a bit of an ask to see if we can get 8th place. Unfortunately, it's quite a bit of an ask, quite a bit of a task to do that. But I'm always up for a challenge, because at least I can see them, but they're only little dots in the distance. So, but challenge accepted, and we'll see if we can get 8th. See, that corner was always a corner where normally the people behind me would be able to catch up a little bit. But then when it can, and then it'll come to this section, then I'll normally sort of like open up the gap a bit again and get ahead a little wee bit. So I think I've managed to bring that gap down with 8th place. You'll be able to see the split times a bit better than I can at the moment, because the way I'm recording it's only on a slightly smaller screen, and all the writing's quite blurred, so it's very hard to bloody see it. But I think I'm at about 5.5. It's either a 6.5 or a 5.5. So I haven't brought it down, or I have brought it down. But I have set a new fastest lap of a 138.9, so just under 139. So I managed to be a little bit faster at least. But as you can see, I have actually been able to bring this gap down. Now I can tell that I've managed to bring this gap down. Now I think it's like a 4.5, I think, now. And lap 9 set a new lap time of 1:38.7, so getting faster, getting faster. So I've got just the penultimate lap, and I'm still going to make it up like 4 seconds. Now this is where I did have a little bit of luck that the 8th place did have a penalty. It was only a second. I think it was only a second penalty, but he did have a penalty, so that did help out. So yeah, now that gap has now come down to, it's dropping down. It's below 2 seconds now. We're about 1.8. I think that is. So thanks to him getting that penalty, that has brought that gap down to a more achievable potential to actually get 8th place. I just got to push hard on the last lap. Though unfortunately at that kind of time, my front tyres will be starting to suffer a little tiny bit. Not immensely, terribly, but a little bit at least. So the corners will be a little bit slower. But again, I do like a challenge, so we'll see what we can do. Just come around the last corner now and we're at the start our final lap. So that lap time was unfortunately a little bit slower, at 1:39.4. So now we're on the final lap, and let's see what we can pull off. See if we can get that 8th place. So the gap is about, I think that's a 1.9. Now it's gone up to 2 seconds. I think the Cayman in the straight is a little bit faster than the 86. I think it is. It's either that or he just had a better corner than what I had at that point. So the gap is now 2 seconds. So I am losing time, and I am slowly losing time on him, unfortunately, which is not looking the best. So now for the section that I know my car's pretty strong at. But now the Porsche in 8th is right up with everything. Has managed to overtake the Lambo, the Brit in the Lambo, and I'm actually only a second behind the Lambo. So now I am now only about I am now basically under a second behind the Lamborghini. So actually 8th place is now even more achievable. So let's see if we can get 8th place in the last 2 corners. So coming to the second last corner, the guy in the Lambo goes wide. I'll take the inside. Going to the last corner. Now 7th place goes wide. He does actually get himself a penalty, but unfortunately it just wasn't close enough behind him to get that 7th place. If I was able to take that last corner just a little bit quicker, then I probably would have actually got 7th in that race. But I got 8th place in the end, so I managed to raise 2 positions. So yes, all in all, was not the best race, was not my best result, but it could have been a lot worse. It could have been like the Fuji race, which there's nobody on that one because that one just didn't go well at all for me. But I'm happy with 8th place. I'm not going to argue with that result. Raising 2 positions, and all in all, a pretty smooth race. All in all, a couple of bumps here, a couple of bumps there. I earned myself 245 points, so better than a kick in the teeth. But that's it for round 3. And I think the next race, round 4, I believe is at Brands Hatch, which is on Saturday. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So please remember to like and subscribe, and to share this video with at least so many friends. And For the next time, remember, I'll see you at the finishing line.